Thank you. So, yeah, I go to a Unitarian Universalist church, and I never know when the moment's going to hit me that even though 99% of you I've never met, that I'm actually at home. And this morning, it was when we sang, "I Wish I Knew How It Feels to Be Free," because that's the hymn we sang at my mother's memorial service. And Karen's here, and I knew Marie, your mother, better than I knew Bill, actually. Marie was still in Toronto when Don and I arrived in '88. She used to correct my sermons. She had lots of practice, eh? And you think, the illusion is that we've never met, but I have emailed with David Park within the last 6 months, and I've got an appointment. I'm going to go see Bill Gardner when I'm in Boston in July, and within the last month I was emailing Nina Gray, who, when she left here, went to be the minister of First Unitarian in Chicago, where I grew up. And what Kent didn't tell you, not this, we're both homeboys from Chicago, but I was on the Ministerial Fellowship Committee when somehow we let him through. And so it's, that's not the exception. It's actually the reality of our lives, that our lives are intertwined and interdependent and tied together in ways we can't even imagine. That story is just kind of emblematic of the reality of how interwoven our lives are. And so we're not strangers at all, even though this is the first time most of us have met. My reading this morning is from another of my colleagues. It's from Yvonne Seon. We talked about Jeff Campbell, the Universalist. Yvonne Seon was the first African-American woman ordained into the Unitarian Universalist ministry. It was in 1981. She was a member of All Souls Congregation in Washington, D.C. And this is, she has an alternate persona, some of you will know. So she's the mother of someone quite well known. His name is David Chappelle. So and so he grew up around First All Souls Church in Washington, D.C. So it's called Transcending Boundaries. When I was a child, I would stand and gaze at the starry firmament and contemplate infinity. As I stood there, the boundary that is time dissolved, I expanded my spirit to fill the boundary that is space. My being stilled, and all fear, anxiety, anguish disappeared. Forgotten were the chores, the homework, the ordinary around me. Transcending boundaries was fun in those days, but as I reached adulthood, it became more difficult. More and more of the world was with me if I did chores and homework. More and more my own fear was with me as I encountered others. More and more I was aware of the boundaries of race, class, age, sex. I felt myself cringe as the bantering youth on the street came nearer. I felt myself become tearful as I encountered a senior citizen living with pain or on the limited choices of a fixed income. I felt myself become angry as I was subjected to the indignities of being rejected by others because I am black, because I am a woman, or because of the blind person or the openly gay person I was with. I felt myself become unwilling to acknowledge my oneness with the addicted person who is my friend, or the homeless people sleeping on the benches in the park. Transcending boundaries is hard work now. For one thing, I've created more of them since I was young, and I've built them higher and stronger than they once were. For another thing, I'm much more self-righteous and much less humble than I was then. Sometimes when I'm at my best, I remember the other I distinguish myself from could be me in another time, another place, another circumstance. Then I remember the words of a colleague who observed that it is my racism, my sexism, my homophobia that I am called upon to address. So I take a few deep breaths and begin to release the fears that are the boundaries between me and my fellow humans.